All right, Paul, let's hear your sound. Let's turn on your video and then hang tight for a minute. I'm just going to answer some of these chats here.
You want to hear me?
Hey, what's up, brother?
On there.
I hear you.
And here's my video.
Hey, looking good, looking fresh. All right. I recognize that blue couch. Paul was giving me good furniture advice. I just moved into a new place. Yes. Yes, you got Paris up in the background. Paul has traveled to Portugal with me twice and once to Niagara. Great road trip, buddy. Great house guest, and even better book publisher. He helped me refocus a book that I had written for women called Badass Businesswoman. And after launching it, I realized having a book about women so boldly stated on the cover was a little off-brand and difficult for me to leverage. And so Paul and I sat down, worked together, and we repositioned the book, retitled the book, called it The Small Business Trap: Why Most Entrepreneurs Work Too Hard, Earn Too Little, and Can't Grow Their Business. And it's a book about freedom in your business. Paul's going to talk. Oh, nice one. Thank you, brother. Good to see you with my book. Paul, I'm going to continue this introduction and give you a resounding welcome to the stage. I just want to make sure that we have all of our chats handled first. Pamela Bryson Weaver asks, yes, the name of the Facebook page you said earlier, because I'm not getting your posts. And I have to react. There we go. Facebook group, post it again, Pamela. All right, so I think we're good on the chats. You guys get excited for Paul. This is going to be good. Let's give him a proper welcome to the stage. Nothing is coming through, Sima says. So mysterious. Pamela says, I only get attendees, not you. I just don't know what is being said here. Would you please aim to communicate in such a way that you're not just easy to understand, but you are impossible to misunderstand? That is a great rule in communication. Pretend I'm really dumb, because I'm feeling really dumb right now. Pamela says, I've been trying to tell you this over and over. Somebody please help Pamela. I can't help Pamela. I don't know what she needs. Lynn says, me neither. I can't get your entries. What are we talking about here? Does anyone know what we're talking about here?
You might be posting to only panelists.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Paul solving my problems as always. Okay, there's the Facebook group. Nobody was getting any of my posts. How confusing. How confusing. And these people are foaming at the mouth for this selfie stick. So give the people what they want, they say. So here it is. Let me try. So there you go. Facebook group, selfie stick. Are we all happy now? I think we're good. Boy, okay, apparently in Zoom you could just post to just panelists. So I'm pretty sure I was just posting to me. And then Paul was like, yeah, cool. All right, so you've got the selfie stick link. You got the Facebook group link. Man, I was losing my mind. I was like, what is going on here? People. Amanda's hashtag dying. Somebody resuscitate Amanda, because she's not going to want to miss. She's not going to want to miss Dr. Paul Newton. All right, here we go. Here's the formal introduction. Paul, what do you got prepared for us? 30, 40, 50 minutes?
I can do 30. I can do longer, go deeper, whatever you want.
So why don't you do 30, and we'll stay open to questions, and let me rudely interrupt you if I may at any point. And then at the end, let's take questions so that our people are very well served with, should I write a book? How do I write a book? How do I use my book? How do I get speaking engagements with my book? How do I use my book when I have a speaking engagement? And all the other good stuff you've brought for us today. Paul?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a powerful tool I've been working on. It is my storytelling template that I want to give to your crew here, everybody, to just have something that they can use to construct stories that they can use in their speeches, that they can use in their books. and I don't know how I can post it into the chat or give them some way of getting that.
Well, that's a resounding yes, Paul. We love gifts, and let me do you one better. Let's give it in this group, let's give it in my Facebook group, and let's give it to my 2,000 email subscribers, because I bet it's solid freaking gold. Is it an opt-in? Are you getting people's emails addresses?
This is just ungated give. Take it, do what you want with it. I want you to have it. And the right people just reach out to me if they want help with it. But I got tons more to give.
Ungated give from the one and only Dr. Paul Newton. So yes, please, please, Dr. Paul, share it here, share it there, share it everywhere. And if you haven't gotten it and you still want it, send Paul an email at
drpaulnewton.com.
Oh, so it's Paul at drpaulnewton.com?
That's right.
Paul at drpaulnewton.com. All right, so Paul is a former chiropractor. After hitting great levels of success as a chiropractor, discovered the power of writing books, and in doing so has been helping other people write amazing, life-changing books ever since. He's worked with entrepreneurs, scientists, doctors, real estate agents, and the one thing that all of them have in common is they are all seen as an expert and authority in their industry because they literally wrote the book on it. Paul does an amazing job actually writing the book for you. If that is something that you are looking for, he can basically pull a book out of you. He also has a process of writing a book with you. And today he's going to share with us specifically around speaking. Paul is also well-versed in the seminar industry and the speak to sell business. He's well trained in that. So he's going to give you a great insight into how the worlds of speaking and books collide. Without further ado, my very good friend, please type into the chat box the word welcome and help me welcome to the stage Dr. Paul Newton.
Thank you, Majeed. A big hug. I have not seen you in person in like 2 months since we were in Portugal together having a blast. Now, let me just tell you about being Majeed's friend. And we're all friends here. I have to say that Majeed is one fun guy. And the way that it works usually is Majeed sends me a text, dude, I got this amazing mansion in ... Want to come? It started with this amazing mansion on Lake Ontario in Niagara. Like, it was just this kickin' place. And because I have set my life up now, so I have the freedom that I can work from wherever at my laptop, I can work from the car on my phone, whatever it is. I guess Majeed just knew I could say yes to an offer like that. So we hopped in a car, we drove down the highway and went to one of his trainings, and we were just living the life. It was fun. And at that point we realized, wow, we got something going here. It's great. And I think the big selling feature on why we should be friends was I had packed a charcuterie board in a little and when we got to this mansion, I just whipped it out and made this little charcuterie spread. And we were friends from then on.
I was unpacking, like we were doing a training in a mansion, and like I was unpacking my flip chart and my easel, and I turn around and Paul's got a board with beautifully displayed like cheeses and meats and fruits, and I was like, okay, you can come on all the road trips.
So the next mansion trip was in Portugal a couple of months ago, and I can see some of the people in the chat that I met, that I spent great times with, and I was cooking for when I was there, because that's another one of my passions, is just feeding people just great food, feed the soul.
I miss your cooking, man. It's been too long.
Yes, it has. And I want to just give you a little background, a little more. Majeed did a beautiful job doing an introduction, and that is one killer way to make sure you are well set up and well positioned when you get to speak, is have someone give you a killer introduction. Good job, Majeed.
Thank you.
And just to give you a little more background about me, why I came to be a publisher from being a chiropractor. Well, I practiced chiropractic for 16 years. I loved working with patients. And the biggest thing that I really enjoyed was getting to go deep and understand who they are and what makes them tick. and what emotionally is driving them. And why could they be so off course with their own self, their authenticity, that they have pain, that they are so physically turning their emotional pain into body pain? And getting to understand that, I really got to see what drives people and what makes people want to do things or what holds them back. Now, I also had to coach a lot of people and give them a lot of advice and help them make tough decisions, help them to restructure their lives so they could live more in authenticity with who they are. And that was what I thought was the next logical step. Let's just get into coaching. I would write articles about this, I would speak about this, and I was getting people to come into my practice to work with me. Well, when I took the step into coaching, what I found was to create a product that really solved the problem that people were looking for, and that really allowed me to express my gifts in understanding the emotional drive behind things and what really compels people to action. Well, the best way to do that, to have a product that could fit a niche, was to be a publisher, write books, because I could help people do something that they have a lot of trouble with doing on their own. Writing a book, it can seem like a daunting task. It's really a big deal. It's such a big project. Where do you start? How do you keep it going? And how do you stay on track? And this is something that over the years, I've just developed system after system to be able to share. And that's why I want to share my storytelling template that I think, Majeed, can I post a link to, or not a link, but is there a way I can put the PDF somewhere, or what would we do?
Yeah, so what you could do now is share your screen and show us. And then as far as the link, if you have a shareable link, you can pop it into the chat and I'll put it in all the places.
That's what I'll do. Perfect. Share screen is under video, right?
It's sort of in the middle of the page.
Oh, there it is. Right. Share screen, and I have to choose. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So this is my storytelling template, and I give you some background about the power of stories. Here's one of the big problems that people have when they're talking about how they help people, is they are so used to seeing the results that they get in their business all the time. They don't realize that they're actually providing their customers with benefit. So they think that it's just a small thing what they're doing. The other thing is they don't look through their customers' eyes. They talk about their products and services through their own eyes, and they're talking at the customer. They're talking at the people, not the customer, the lead. They're not talking to the person's pain, because they can't appreciate how much that problem or pain is disrupting their lives. But when you do learn how to talk to the pain that people are experiencing, then you get the power of storytelling. Because when you can talk in the language of your ideal client, what happens is they think that you get them. They feel that empathy, they feel that empathetic connection, and it allows them to start taking on your stories as their story. And when their mind aligns with you and aligns with your brain, it's actually been shown that storytelling will create a series of brainwaves that connect in your mind, the mind of the storyteller, with the mind of the listeners. And the listeners' brains all become aligned energetically, like the brainwaves align, and everybody is experiencing the same thing. So think of how powerful that is when you're speaking to sell. If you're on a stage and you're doing exactly what Majeed says, and everybody's brainwaves are aligned with yours, how much more likely are they going to be to see the world through your eyes and see you as the solution to the problem and say yes when you ask them to take action? So this storytelling template, what to do is, where do you find your stories? Well, what you do is you look through your clients and your patients and the people you've worked with, and you want to list 10 people who had great success with the story. And then when you type in someone's name here, like Majeed, what it does is it's feeding it down into your success story template way down below.
Whoa. Fancy.
Right?
Look
And
at that.
So what was the problem that Majeed was having in his business, say back in the day when I first met him, and he was a coach and he was coaching people on their business. And Majeed is a brilliant speaker and a brilliant guy at convincing people and persuading them to say yes. So he had all these clients, they were all women, and they were all doing great work in their business. So he wrote Badass Businesswomen. And what was the problem? Well, that wasn't really his target audience. His target audience were business owners and people that had sort of a bigger vision for their business. And that's why when we rebranded his book to The Small Business Trap, why most entrepreneurs work too hard, earn too little, and can't grow their business, then we started speaking to the pain of what those clients were struggling with. So what did this client want in his life and business, Majeed? Well, he wanted his book to be the right book to reach the right clients so that he could get them engaged in his programs. And what happened was we talked about this, and Majeed would say, do you know what, Paul? I'm really jealous of your product because it's a book. And what's the problem? I don't have no book. And I want a book, but I don't know what to do. And work with Paul, I get a book. So once he understood that, well, we just needed to get him the right book. And once we positioned his book to reach those clients, what he could do was, I remember you had this breakfast, Majeed, didn't you? You had people, you invited all these people over, and then you took your book and you made a nice package or something, and you put this like shock and awe package with your book right on top of it at each seat, and all these people sat down and
yeah.
Can you just
I remember that.
tell me what happened there?
I'll tell you what happened. You know, there's that restaurant out on Woodruff and Baseline called Broadway's Grill.
Yeah.
And they've got a private breakfast room. So I called them up and I said, can I reserve your breakfast room? And I just bought everybody breakfast. So, you know, think like Denny's, just a little bit nicer, right? And I probably invited 30, 40 people. I think 20 or so showed up. And I gave a little speech, and everybody got my book, and they got the little shock and awe package. And continue your story.
Well, then after that, because he was using his book to help his clients overcome their problems, he presented them an offer to solve their problems. And because you were positioned with your book as the expert in your field, I know that turned into like some insane amount of business for you, didn't it? I'm pretty sure you walked away with like, what, multiple like 5 figures at least there.
Multiple 6 figures.
Jeez.
Multiple 6 figures. It was a $500,000 sales sprint. It didn't all come from that breakfast, but it was all related to that same offer that I was building that one book for, which is to work with an entrepreneur to help them find a bigger vision for their business and then deliver for them coaching, training, and consulting work. That's where the $500,000 in sales came from. But that breakfast, I think, got 3 of those kinds of clients for me. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's the power of the right book. When you get it nailed, it just works for you. And when you use your book properly, it turns into big clients. And it works that way if you're set up properly to do so. So this template asks you to fill out the stories. And I am going to write this story in my next book because it is so powerful what Majeed did with his book. And so how did this client's life transform into the life they have always wanted? Well, Majeed's living his dream there. He is traveling. He's traveling the world. You can see that beautiful background behind him. Well, I can't see it now, but I know he's in front of the ocean. And when you write a story about how they went from problem to solution because of your intervention, well, then people see you as the guy that can solve their problems if they're the right people in the audience. So the template prompts you to put it all together for 10 people, and you get to practice writing these stories. I also give you how to go deep. Up here, let me just find those questions. There's a list of questions here. There's tons of questions. These questions, do you know where they come from? They come from my days as a chiropractor, when I was digging down into what makes this person tick? Where are they not being themselves? Why are they struggling to live the life that they truly want? How is this problem really impacting their lives? Because people come in and they're like, oh, my neck hurts, my back hurts, I have cramps, or what have you. Immediately we think, need to take away cramps, need to take away neck pain, need to take away back pain. Yes, that's the immediate solution. But you know what goes a lot deeper? What is that problem causing them to experience in their lives? How is it messing up the things that are really important to them in their relationship? You know, if you have neck and back pain, how does that affect your intimacy? How does that affect your relationship with your spouse and the things that you do together as spouses?
You guys, this is really good. If you have back pain, how important is it to fix? Well, if you connect back pain to affecting your relationship with your spouse, connect back pain to your love life, sex life, connect back pain to impacting your career, income, connect back pain to how good of a parent you are, all of a sudden you've taken a problem and made it much more valuable by giving the right insight and perspective that you can do as an expert by asking these great questions.
And they're all in this template again. So I am going to give you a link at the end of this talk so we can post it everywhere. Because those questions, I used it to get my clients in my chiropractic practice to commit to not just an adjustment where I took away their back pain, but to commit to a plan that, you know, they would engage with me for like a year to work on their body, how it handles all those emotions, the internal struggle of being inauthentic and not living the life that the way you want, so that they could have the relationship of their dreams, so that they could be the person that they want to be showing up as at work, so that they could take on all those activities and great bucket list things that they want to do in their life that they can't do when they're in pain and hurting. And that's where I connected with them. And that's where you want to connect with your audience in your talk and in your book. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about here is writing the right book. So let's go back to video here. Stop sharing. Make sure you get that template because those questions are pure gold.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you. And that's very generous of you, Paul, to share that.
Well, I know it'll help your audience and it'll help my audience as well. Because in order for you to have the right book, Majeed already listed the things that you need because it's the same thing in your talks as it is in your book. You need to have an ideal client, somebody that you know that you can serve. Then you need to have a big problem. It's got to be big. And a lot of us, if we're healers, if we are positive people, we don't want to talk about problems. We want to talk about solutions. But let me tell you that nobody makes decisions based on being like, maybe if I do this, this will be good. They make decisions because the pain is so bad that they can't continue being the person they are. And you've got to find that. You got to find that about them because they get motivated more by the stick than by the carrot. Yes, sure, you dangle the carrot in front of them and say, here's the life of possibility you can have. And that's why you want to ask those questions so you can find out what is the life they're aspiring to? What do they truly want? But you need to find out how bad is it in the crap where they are wallowing and struggling. And they don't want to admit that to you. They don't want to tell you that. They aren't going to tell you when you interview them that, oh, you know what, I'm really worried that my spouse is going to leave me because I can't give him what she needs. They're not going to tell you that I'm really afraid that I am really holding back at work and I'm going to lose my job. They don't tell you that right off the bat. You need to get under there and find the true driving force. And when you get there, that is the big problem. And that's what you're actually solving. Most people, they don't realize that their product is actually giving a different service to the client than what they're selling. They think, chiropractor, I take away back pain and neck pain. No, I give people the life they always dreamed about with their wife, with their boss and like their work, their career. They can become that star athlete, all those dreams. That's what I'm giving them as the chiropractor. I don't take away back and neck pain. And once you have that big problem, then the next thing is you need a system that has the steps to the solution. And they have to see that there is a path from problem to solution so that they can see you're bridging that gap with your system. And then you need an offer, something that they can take you up on so they can take the next step. And, for me, I like to make the offer, here's something that you can do for yourself to help yourself. So take my template, say, and start working through your stories. But I want to also be there so that, hey, when you have questions or when you need some guidance in how to pull it all together, I can be there for you too. And that's how you put out an offer. And what I want for you guys is that, I'm here, but hey, I'm not trying to get you to like buy into that template. Just take it, work with it. You're going to see what I can actually work with and do when I'm talking to you here. Now, once you have your ideal client, big problem, solution, and offer, that's what you need to do in your book. Is you've got to write your book to that client. You got to write it in the language they understand. You've got to write about the problem through their eyes, and you've got to tell them the solution that they're looking for. And people get motivated by the pain, but then they get inspired by the solution you're offering. That's how you get the right book. When you have the right book, here are the things that can happen. Now, Majeed, like magic, he rebranded himself, and he has this expert speaker business here and Expert Speaker Live. Now his brand is crystal clear. People know what he's talking about, and he can give this book away and people just eat it up. They know exactly what he's talking about. They know the transformation he's bringing. That's the right book. This is my book. I would be giving it, like I'd be handing it to you, the expert author effect. This is the effect you have as an expert author. And
can we buy your book on Amazon?
You can buy the book on Amazon, or you can get it, you can download it free on my website, Expert Author Press. I'll put that in the, I'll send that through in the chat too. Cool. So you can download it. I would gladly mail you a copy of it as well if you want to private message me, or I don't know how they can message through this platform. Majeed.
I would say, guys, if you don't worry about other people knowing what your address is, just write your address in the chat right now.
I will gladly mail you a copy.
Put your full name and address in the chat right now, and Paul's going to send you a book in the mail. How about that?
And let me just tell you the power of a physical book. Because you know what? When everyone's getting PDFs, everyone's getting ebooks and what have you, think about your inbox. Like, are you going to read a whole book in an email? What happens to those emails after a week? They're going down the list and they're just gone. But when I give you a physical copy of the book, what do you do with it? Well, it's not a brochure or a business card. And you can, it takes a lot to throw a book in the garbage, right? You take it, you keep it.
You need your book to be good enough, just slightly better than throwing away in the garbage crappy. All right. If it's so bad that they throw it away in the garbage, it didn't work. But if it's good, no, Paul writes really good books. His book is super good. And I really appreciate, Paul, that your book is short. Your book gets so to the point so quickly, super packed with really simple, actionable stuff. You guys, this book is solid.
And you know what I really appreciate about Majeed is, let me tell you about actually the first time that I went to Majeed's house. Is he invited me over for poker night. And I don't play poker. And I only knew Majeed kind of a bit at the time. I'd met him once before. And I was thinking, geez, I need to get to know this guy better. And then I thought, geez, he's testing me. He's asking me to come over to poker night. I better show up. So I show up with a stack of these books and give them out to everybody in the room. And Majeed's like, huh, that's kind of cool. He's giving his book to everyone. And then people are like, can you sign it? And I'm signing away. And then I played poker. Then they took all my money. And then Majeed's like, Paul, you got 30 seconds to choose your karaoke song, and then I'm sticking this microphone in your face. So he made me sing karaoke, another thing that, geez, I didn't want to do. So it was a kind of growth evening, but you know what? It was all worth it, because the next week I walked away and got myself $25,000 worth of business out of that evening because I showed up and I gave my book out. And that is the power of the right book put into the hands of ideal clients.
Yes.
How do you use a book to get speaking gigs? Well, one of the guys there had this Young Pros event that he hosted, and he's like, I need a speaker for that. He goes, would you speak to our audience? I was like, well, yes, I'm a speaker and I have a book, and I will give my book to everybody in the audience at the event. So I'm adding value with, hey, giving a physical book to people. It's not just some PDF. It's not just some, link of useless material. It is something of value, and it makes those the people holding the events look good to their audience. So I spoke to that audience, again, turned into another $5,000 worth of business. And that was from showing up at an event when I was ready. And there's nobody who gets you ready better than Majeed. He makes sure that you are positioned, that you have the positioning of your product, of your offer to your ideal client so that you look fantastic. And then you can take advantage of these opportunities. What do you do with your book? Well, mail it to people. I've got a whole list of addresses now. I'm sending it to people. When you know people in industries where there's a lot of connections, these books can end up in the right hands. They can end up in the hands of people that can connect you to other people. One time I had my assistant actually look for places where there were authors groups. Now, authors aren't really my target audience because a lot of them want to write fiction, a lot of them want to write their memoirs. But she did get me a speaking gig in Atlanta by just emailing people, phoning around, and just setting up. I mean, all it takes is really looking on websites and contacting people and saying, I can speak about this. And then showing up, being willing to show up. So I went down to Atlanta. I spoke to this group of people that mostly wanted to write memoirs and fiction and stuff. But there were enough people in the audience that had businesses. And I walked away from there going, geez, I don't know if this is going to really work out for me. It's the wrong audience. That was in May. So it was exactly a year ago, actually. And by December, I got a call from someone out of the blue. And she wasn't at that talk, but her friend was at the talk. And she said, you need to go on Amazon and buy this guy's book. And she bought that book and called us. And we turned into $25,000 worth of business right there from a talk that I did in May. And that's what I'm talking about. The right book in the right hands, it sits out there working for you. If you do it right, it will keep working for you for years after you leave it in people's hands. Now, during this time of crisis, I mean, I was supposed to be speaking at this swanky hotel here in Ottawa. Like, we were going to have a kick-ass weekend. We were going to be at the spa doing all sorts of great
Oh
things.
yeah. I was thinking which hotel are you talking about? What event were you supposed to be at? I was like, oh yeah, that's this event. Yeah. Oh man, it was going to be so good. The Andaz Hotel in the Hyatt downtown. We're going out to the Nordic Spa. But for those of you who are in the Expert Speaker Bureau, we are going to do that as soon as humanly possible, and you will meet Paul there. I'm sure. I'm hoping it's going to be July. Fingers crossed.
I hope. Yeah, I really hope, because I mean, this is what has become possible since I took my business to virtual. I mean, I'm working with people in the US, in the UK. I've got a client in New Zealand, and I don't even know where they come from half the time. I just found out that this client in New Zealand I got because I spoke on a webinar 5 years ago for this divorce coaching company in Florida, down where you are right now. And the person there said, you need to talk to this guy because he'll help you get your book done properly. Speaking with your book gets you business, because that turned into $15,000 from down under in New Zealand. And I didn't know how it came until I dug a little deeper and asked. If you have the right message in the right book and you put it out in the right hands, that will work for you. Now, in my book, I have a list of top 10 things that I like to do for getting business with your book. One thing is just drop your book into these bubble wrap envelopes or wrap it up. You just need to make sure it doesn't get destroyed in the mail, and mail it to 100 key players in your industry with a little note to them. Because when people receive a mailing, well, first of all, it's a surprise, because who gets stuff in the mail anymore? And when it's a book in bubble wrap, I'm going to open this. I want to see what this is. Or if it's reaching their assistant or something, it's going to get through because it's something special. You get a shock and awe package, and you make it out to the person. You endorse it. You put a little sticky note on the front with how you want to connect with them and why. Offer to speak at their event about the subject matter in the book. You have a prepared talk. Your signature talk's ready to go. And then if you have an offer that you can make on the back end, and it's all ready to go, then you're ready. And that's what Majeed's getting you ready to do here, is he's making sure you're ready to show up at a speaking gig, no matter how big, no matter how small, but you're ready to cash in on the opportunity there. Because I've learned it doesn't matter how many people are at a gig. It doesn't matter how big, how small, whether it's in your own town or you have to travel, and even whether it's virtual, there's opportunity when you are ready. So make sure that you get ready and you're doing the things that Majeed's sharing with you. And you might think, gee, do I have a book in me? Secrets of an HVAC Millionaire. This guy does furnaces and air conditioning, okay? And do you know what happened? Well, he's actually a pretty deep spiritual guy. He's really cool. He actually met my partner, Bob, my business partner, because he was doing transcendental meditation and they had the same teacher. And he wanted to write a book about meditation. We're like, dude, there's lots of books about meditation. And you are actually, this guy sold his HVAC business for multiple millions of dollars. I don't know how he did it. He didn't tell me how much he made, but what we ended up doing is positioning him as the guy to go to when you want to stop driving around in your truck trying to figure out where your next job's coming from and worrying about going broke, because that's where most of the people that do HVAC are. And I kid you not, like within working with us, we took us about 6 months to get his book done. But during that time frame, because of the positioning we did for him and the messaging, he was able to actually generate a good $175,000 worth of business out of HVAC contractors in Canada and the US by helping them with their marketing. And it's just because we got him to write the right book. Now, one other thing before I wrap up is to write the right book, you really, really have to get those stories down, and you have to be able to see the world through the eyes of your customer. The other thing you need to do is you need to have a really clear path that goes from the problem down to the solution through your system. And I have another template that I've been working on. It's not quite as beautiful as the one that I'm sharing here yet, but it will be that good, because I've just been elevating all the things that I'm offering here, because I know that if I put good material into the hands of people that want it, they're going to come to me for the help because they know the quality of work I do. So I'm going to get that out there as well. And all of you who shared your contact information with me, once I get my assistant working on getting that all cleaned up and everything, I will share that with you as well. So that will be there available for you. But the last thing that I'm going to finish with here is, if you think that writing a book is the next step in your career path, if it is the next step in elevating your credibility to the next level, or your speaking platform to the next level, and you want to talk about whether you're on the right path, you have the right book in you, you're going to be writing a good book that supports your platform, just let me know. And I will set up a time we can spend an hour talking about whether your book is a good idea, whether you need to tweak it or change it. And I'll just tell you flat out, like, hey, this is good, or do this, or work with this template, get some of that done, and then we can figure out where to go. My company does publishing. We do the book design and publishing and layout and formatting. We do ghostwriting, so we can write the whole book for you if you don't want to write anything yourself, or we can hold your hand through the process. So there's a variety of different offerings there. Again, I'm here to help. If you just want to bounce your ideas off me, I'm really happy. I'm so honored to be able to share this information with people. And I know Majeed's community is really aligned with me, coming from healing holistic background, and also wanting to be out there sharing big messages to transform lives. So with that, Majeed, thanks for having me here. I can't wait till we're together in person and just hitting the next mansion.
Dude, you're brilliant. Thank you so much.